People in Melbourne, I would say I wouldn't say over the top, but their love for football is, yeah, something else.
Go Giants!
Yeah, smash the Giants! Yeah!
That's all right.
On the Friday, the day before the grand final, it was me and Marlon sitting in the truck together. And I had little Levi, Marlon's son, in my lap, and he had his daughter. And the media just swarmed us and wanted to talk to Marlon.
You're a big game player, aren't you?
Some people say that.
And we loved it. It was surreal. It was just unbelievable.
Marlion Pickett is embracing the hype ahead of making his debut in front of 100,000 people.
It was just a feel-good story of the 2019 AFL Grand Final. And that was before we knew that he was going to play the sort of game that he played.
Marlion Pickett, first game, that would send goosebumps down his spine.
I just knew he belonged out there, and it was his day, and it was all Marlon, Marlon, Marlon.
Handball to the advantage. Here's Pickett. That was a beautiful move.
Soldo to Pickett. Whoa, what about that?
I was just so proud of this bloke, and because I got to know him and his background and what he's been through.
Pickett, look at the boys get around him for first game.
People make mistakes in life, and you can change and turn your life around. Life's all about getting second chances and becoming a better person.
If he kicks this will be one of the great roars in grand final history.
Marlon's having a shot at goal, and the murmur that is going around. This is like a fairy tale. This couldn't happen, could it? We couldn't have a kid that's been in jail, 27 years of age, playing his first game in front of 100,000. He could not possibly kick a goal. It's an incredible story. Hard to believe it happened, really.
A debutant about to put the dagger in the heart on grand final day.
I've always been a good runner. Every school I went to, when there was a competition, if I didn't come first, then it made me push even harder the next year.
It's beautiful watching him run. There is no sound, it is so quick, and it's not just straight, it's any direction, blind turns. He's nearly like a ballet dancer in the way he moves.
Can the Tigers land a counter punch? Pickett tried to spin through.
When people watch Marlon playing football, that's all they see, not behind closed doors. A lot going on with our family, and yeah, there's quite a lot of struggles, and yeah.
Being brought up in Perth is hard growing up. A lot of people go out looking for trouble. I can remember when I was 15. Yeah, thought I was big enough to head out with the older brothers. Well, got in trouble. The brothers got in trouble, got into fighting on street and that. Yeah, got charged for grievous bodily harms. A couple months after I got released from Juvenile Detention Centre, then I met Jess. Jess was the first girl that I met properly. And yeah, and I don't know, it's just a strong connection from probably when I first met her.
He was a very shy person. Also, myself was very shy. I think he was more into me than what I was into him, but I think that's what brought me to, liking Marlon, He wasn't that much into football at the time. He was more in trouble.
Jessica was 15 years of age. She ran away. She found a boyfriend, and it's Marlon. Me, my mum and sister went to get her, and she came back with us. A few days later, she's gone missing again.
Our parents went through a bit of stuff, you know, trying to control all of us kids in the city. It was a bit hard for them. So they moved up, they decided to move to York to keep us all out of trouble.
My mum made it hard with Jess to try and accept it, but I wasn't taking her that. She had no choice. It was either Jess come with us or me and Jess head our own way.
At that time, I didn't want to acknowledge Marlon because I was upset with them both. I thought they was making all the wrong decisions.
I was 17 when I first found out I was pregnant. It was kind of a shock to me, just because how young I was, and that changed everything.
I had to support him. Then I tried to look for work, but work didn't end up finding me, so I had to find another way to support him. Yeah, I was 18 at the time, so just partying, drinking, with drugs, and ended up getting into crime. Well, at the time I was thinking, if I break into a shop, it'll be safer for the family. Then sell drugs from home with your kids and that.
I knew Marlon was doing robberies and whatnot, but no, I didn't feel that all right with it because of I knew it would come to end one day.
I was laying in bed with Jess one morning and I heard a knock on the door. When I looked at the door and who was standing there was the police.
2 weeks after Marlon was arrested, I found out I was pregnant for our second child, Latrell, and I knew from there that things were going to be really difficult for myself. When I went to visit Marlon with the children, it was good for the hour, but after it was time to say goodbye, it was pretty hard. Just seeing my son cry for his dad.
Yeah, a tear rolled down my side of my face. So I looked back once and that was about it. Just kept walking.
A few days down the track, he said not to visit him as often, only because he didn't want Junior to hurt as much.
And yeah, just probably the hardest thing I had to do. Sometimes I just ask Jess why didn't she leave me, but then she said she didn't want her kids to grow up without a father.
Because I've seen my mother, my father, my brother being in and out of prison most of their life.
In 2011, Wooroloo Prison Farm joined forces with a local football club over in Western Australia, taking prisoners outside of prison walls to play in the local football league.
It's up to you at the end of the day. Like I said, I don't like to lose. You've got to use your teammate. Don't try to take on the world.
I was approached to come on board and document the program for the ABC.
Here with a bit more conviction.
Speaking to Marlon, interviewing him, I didn't think that there was too much to this young man. He was very quiet, he was very humble, he didn't really have a lot to say.
Love my football. It's a good feeling.
You're good at it?
Yeah. Oh, it's all right.
But once we got outside of prison walls, once we saw them running around on the field, he was incredible. I mean, he really let his skills do the talking.
Watching Marlon play football was pretty surprising because I didn't really know how talented he was.
And everyone on the team was adamant that he was absolutely going to be an incredible AFL star on the outside once he'd completed his sentence.
I didn't really have no idea about where my footy career would lead me at the time. I was probably just worried about focusing on getting through my sentence of what I had to do.
I think the first game they beat their first team by like 150 points. It was absolutely ridiculous. As the season progressed, you could definitely see that these guys were on a fast track to reaching the finals and potentially a grand final victory. Unfortunately, there was one particular incident that threw a real big spanner in the works.
Pick up, Dale!
Yeah, at the time I had enough of minimum security. There wasn't the right structure around me. I had 12 months left.
Got 3 here, have they?
No, just 2. Just 2.
Just you and her?
There's a bit too much freedom where I didn't want freedom. I just wanted more structure where time flew instead of dragging along. So I asked to get moved from Warraloo, but that didn't happen. So then the only way I had to move if I got charged. In prison, you always can get drugs, doesn't matter where you are. In Warraloo, you can get stuff just chucked straight over the fence. If they catch you, you're heading back to Acacia prison. It's like medium security. So at that time, yeah, just talk to the right people, and I ended up getting some marijuana. And I was caught out of bounds. Yeah, from that point, I knew I was going back to Acacia prison.
Very different routines there. We're talking about much stricter rules and regulations, a lot less freedoms, concrete walls, barbed wire, all of that sort of stuff. That was the real reason why it was such a shock. He was the one that had the most to lose. I mean, he was absolutely dominating in the competition. He was dominating as a player, and as a result, they lost in the finals and they fell out of the comp.
I had doubts for Marlon if he was to change or not, but when he got out in 2013, the first week he went into South Fremantle Football Club and asked if he was allowed to play with them.
Marlon would have been around about 21. It asked some questions of us as a football club when we were prepared to take a player straight out of prison. There's always a little bit of fear that comes with that. So a lot of people would get out of the way when Marlon was going towards the ball.
You want food? You want some lunch? In 2015, myself and Marlon moved into our very first home just outside of Fremantle, where we had our first daughter, Shaniqua. That's your one. Levi's. You sit down, eat. The following year, we had our youngest son, Levi.
You come watch Dad play football?
No,
yeah?
I got a headache.
Oh, you headache, do you?
Since Marlon was younger, he told me that was his dream to become an AFL player and play for the big league.
The pinnacle of Australian football is the AFL. It's the big stage. But in the way that the AFL and indeed most sports, their drafting system work, you get picked up when you're 18 or 19. So at 24, he's almost ancient.
For the Richmond Football Club, we were still trying to build our team. We certainly assessed him and looked at him closely. But we probably weren't quite ready for Marlon at that point in time. He's got to be able to survive. And not just survive, he's got to thrive in our environment and prosper.
Richmond captain Trent Cotchin has defended coach Damien Hardwick after another embarrassing loss at the weekend.
2016 was the toughest year as I've ever had, emotionally, physically. And it just became a really, really crappy place to be, a Richmond Footy Club.
Kicking their lowest score for more than 50 years.
There's no way I'm bringing in a player that's been incarcerated for a period of time, You know, I became a shocking coach. I became unapproachable to my playing group. A WA Indigenous boy that has experienced what he has done, I would have just thought this is all too hard. There's no way this is going to work.
I met with several different clubs, West Coast, Fremantle, Gold Coast, Essendon, with St Kilda, but I got overlooked every year. Probably just, I don't know, made me more angrier that they're still worrying about my past. Well, one night we went out, then there's, I don't know who the other fella was, but I think he called me nigger or boom or something like that. I'm going to take a swing at me. So then I stepped back and just hit him. So then I was going to court for that, but at the end of it, he got dismissed and dropped. That's where I just stopped going out. And now it's just focusing on my kids, my partner, and doing the best I can for them. Will you put your foot in here and bury your foot?
Marlon had doubts that he would ever make the AFL side, but I encouraged him a lot to just stick to it.
Oh, big fly by Pickett. Highly rated. AFL clubs watching his finals campaign as well. Knocks into a dangerous position. Pickett on the goal line almost. It's 3 straight goals for South Fremantle.
His football in 2018 was phenomenal. He went on to win our best and fairest. He had developed great leadership. He was not only a leader of the Aboriginal players at our football club, he was a leader of everybody. If you played alongside Marlion Pickett, you know, we felt our players walked a little bit taller.
Pickett! Oh, wow. What a mark! Extraordinary! Well, any talent scouts watching?
He's always had the aerial power.
He's always been so brave in the air. We interviewed him a couple of times, and from that, the interest grew. So pause it now. Everybody knows what's behind him.
The only fears we probably had in maybe selecting Marlion was we're taking a 27-year-old guy with a partner and 4 young children and relocating them one side of the country to the other. Such an unselfish player too, that brings other people into the game.
Sometimes you learn the greatest lessons of your life in your darkest times. It certainly happened to me. Might have happened to Marlion as well.
37 years of disappointment purged with a deafening roar.
By now, Damien Hardwick had completely changed the way he went about things. He'd embraced people from all sorts of different backgrounds. By now, Damien Hardwick had completely changed the way he went about things. He'd embraced people from all sorts of different backgrounds, including troubled ones.
And that's the significant change. We don't all have to fit in the same box. We can let people be who they are. We can embrace them for the person that they are.
And then, for the first time in decades, the AFL decides to have a mid-season draft. But the week before that mid-season draft, Marlion Pickett breaks his finger for a second time.
What have you gone for at pick 13 for the Tigers?
Yeah, we've selected Marlion Pickett from the South Fremantle Football Club.
Well, surprised here. He was broken his finger on the weekend, Matt. We think 6, 8, 10 weeks potentially.
Yeah, I don't think there's any concerns from us about the finger being a long-term selection. We think it's an opportunity to get Marlion in now.
I was cooking dinner at home. The draft pick was on. We were surprised that they called his name. Yeah, he was shocked. I was surprised. I actually ran out of the house and started shouting. He was just quiet, scratching his head, walk around the house, didn't know what to do.
Footy fans love a good redemption story, and this father of 4 is one of the best.
I just let him do what he had to do until he found a house for us in Melbourne.
Marlion was in rehab at the time. He couldn't really play because of his finger. And as soon as he started training full-time with us and he was in the main training with us, and he just started to tear it up.
Pickett's on the verge of being picked in Richmond's VFL team. That's the second tier competition. And then all of a sudden, he's needed back home in Perth.
I remember it was late on a Friday. I got a phone call from Marlion. He told me, unfortunately, that Jess's brother had passed away. Marlion was clearly quite upset.
When I first got then, it was just, I think, as years went by, we got closer.
The day after my brother Sam's funeral, myself, my second youngest sister Hannah, my 4 children, and Marlion moved to Melbourne, the official move.
Hey, come here. Me and you gonna wash your hands. Let's go. Yeah, no more taxes for you. I think you had enough.
Jess, she's a strong person. Like, it's hard to see what's going on in her because she just takes it in and goes on with life. Like, she doesn't fuss about it.
Me, Marlion, Levi, Shaniqua camps in this room. Sometimes it's a bit much with both the children.
Get ready up and out again, okay? So same sort of thing, let's do it fast. I want to do the same play, but let's do it quicker.
When September rolls around, we were lucky enough as a club to have sides in both finals competitions. And Marlion was playing VFL at the time.
What happens, though, is Marlion Pickett has such a performance in the VFL. He wins the Norm Goss medal as best on ground. He was nothing short of outstanding. Would he be able to force his way into the AFL Grand Final side and to become the first player since 1952 to make his debut in the biggest game of all?
I think the hype just started to build and the locker room conversations started to happen. Just the name that kept cropping up. I was like, well, what about Marlion? Why not Marlion?
So, for example, then that other defender comes down, he pulls back off the mark. Marlion can then roll forward to create a 2v1 further. Like, Thursday comes around and we thought, well, listen, this kid's crossed every bridge we've asked him to cross. His life has challenged him in many ways that none of us would have any idea of what he's been through. And he's just taken everything in his stride. So we brought him in with the captain, Trent Cotchin, and Dustin Martin, who he'd had a bit of a relationship with as well. And we told him he was going to play. But the fact of the matter is, we put you in the 22. You're going to play your first game, brother.
Not a bad game to play.
Congratulations.
He was pretty shocked. He took a big, deep breath, and yeah, it was a really special moment, and I'm glad I was a part of it.
So, come the big day, Marlion Pickett, understandably, starts on the bench. But from when he got on the field, he shone from the outset.
Soldo to Pickett. Whoa, what about that? A full 360 in slow motion. Just down your marks.
Everyone was like cheering, and myself and his manager and my cousin were more or less like, oh, finally, like, there he is, you know. Yeah, that's the Marlion we know.
This man is playing a great game, Pickett as well.
In the third quarter, it was 60-12 when I kicked the ball to Dusty Martin.
Pickett, take a bow. You've been superb.
And I was kind of walking back, and I just happened to look inboard, and I seen him out the corner of my eye, and I kind of just gave him a little nod and just kicked it to him.
To give it off here, and there, guess who? Gave it to the man that set it up for him.
At that point, I was thinking, I'm not missing this, my first shot of goal.
If he kicks this will be one of the great roars in grand final history. A debutant.
So Marlion's coming at me. The goals are directly over the top of me, so I'm sort of right in the middle of the goals. And he kicks it, and you just know this thing is sailing through. So I'm watching it go, my head like that. And I think everyone's just started charging in.
All of us just was so proud, so emotional. It was to put us the biggest lead that I think we've been all day.
The Tigers are premiers for the 12th time in their history.
Some people say what happened to me is a fairy tale, but if you're looking for a change and a better life, then it's up to you if you want to change it.
Here for a visit? Yeah, here for a visit. Have your names, please?
Anthony van der Wielen.
Yep.
And Marlion Pickett. If I didn't go to prison when I did, I probably wouldn't have learned. Yeah, was wrong and was right.
How does it feel to be back out here?
Not liking it, coming back, but yeah. No, it's not a nice place to be away from your family. When my footy career's over, I would like to mentor Indigenous kids, doesn't matter what kind of kids they are. Just try to show them there is a better life than jail. Yeah, just try to help them get by. And to know that I'm always there if they need me. So when you are, just don't give them no reason to try to do that stuff, you know? There are a lot of Indigenous families out there where a lot of family are in and out of prison for their lifetime. It's not just my family, it's a lot of Indigenous people. Stay out of trouble, do everything you can, you know, to give yourself the best opportunity to get picked up in that. If I had someone I looked up to and come in and visit me when I was in here, things might have been different. Yeah, they could have helped me to get somewhere I wanted to be a bit earlier. Yeah, and probably, I don't know, just be there for me. Yeah, it's probably just got to learn from your mistakes and try something different.
It's been fantastic having you come in again.
Yeah.
It's been great to see you again. And, we'd be happy to have Marlion involved in any capacity. The relationship is there and we're happy to sort of continue to foster it and make it become as productive as possible.
It was never easy for Jess, but she's been the rock to my footy so far and supporting me. So over the Christmas break, we'll head back so she can enjoy with her family.
I couldn't imagine my life without Marlion. Just, yeah, I would say the backbone.
I wouldn't have thought that they would have come this far. But, yeah, really happy and proud of them.
It's my birthday today. I'm 28. They say it's prime time. Yeah, so I'm feeling fit.
The pressure's huge now, but for those of us that know Marlion Pickett, he eats pressure for breakfast. He strives and thrives on that kind of pressure.
There could be an argument to say that he's a bit of a one-game wonder, potentially. Who knows? I think his team loves him. I think the supporters love him. The game loves him. It's just up to him, really, to see where he goes to from here. So I don't have any expectations. I'm just really keen to see what happens next.
That one.